Okay, we have returned. Good news, I'm not verging on a migraine this time. Bad news, my chronic pain has flared up, so I've had to take, so far, just a Tylenol to try to calm it down, but that usually doesn't do very much, sadly, so I'm not feeling the best, but gonna try, because I was wanting to play this anyway. Ooh. Okay, I'm just checking, make sure I hit the record button. I did. Yep, good. Need that. That needs to happen, or this is all kind of pointless. So yeah, we're at the Hunter's Keep. I remember we came here because we wanted to get the box of Angry Dream Snakes and then drop off the remaining claymen in London. But we also just hit up against the problem of I accepted a quest from the shady guy who wants us to go get something. I really hope that's recorded in the journal somewhere. I think we had to go to Khan's Heart to get it. One of the 3 Khanate places. I want to say it's Khan's Heart. And if we return to London without it, he's going to be pissy. So yeah, the good news is it looks like we have plenty of fuel and supplies, so we're not in a position where we have to go back to London to prepare. Our terror isn't looking the best. Maybe if we can try to friggin' fix that, but I doubt it because we didn't pick up recent news while we were there, because we kind of got interrupted like midway through the London visit because we were running out of inventory space and I was verging on a migraine. It was a bad time all around. So we're just gonna have to try to make do and hope that this doesn't get this captain killed, because good God, would that be a dumb way to go. Yep, no lunch today because we didn't get recent news. Thank you, game. F you too. Yeah, nothing I can do about it. We're just gonna have to make do with this level of terror. Would have been really nice to get that terror reduction. Like the hunger I'm not so worried about. We have 11 crates of supplies. It's that it would have been nice to get that roughly 10-ish point terror reduction to deal with this. We're just gonna have to be generous with the lamp. Alright. If I pull up I forget, it's not a journal, they call it the Gazette. So, if I look, does it say... That is one thing about this game that I remember potentially being a problem, is that... Okay, there it is. Like, you... Okay, collecting cargo for the chairman. Collect from Khan's Heart in the Salt Steppes. Yes, so I did remember that correctly. That's good. And then we're gonna really cross our fingers and hope that we don't get searched, because we've been getting searched a lot when we come back to London, even though our suspicion is low because we so far haven't been caught doing anything illegal. We honestly haven't done that much that's illegal. This is gonna be kind of one of the first things. So yeah, we've been getting searched a lot, and I don't know if just associating with the guy, even though it doesn't make your suspicion go up per se, like maybe it just does. Does it say anywhere in Menaces? Yeah, recurring nightmare, I remember that. Yeah, we got suspicion in the Khanate because we took out that one of their boats. Okay, we have one suspicion, so yeah, we may have gotten that just by associating with this guy. That would make sense. I can't remember for certain. So that might be why they're searching us. It might be worth... I think the tireless mechanic can increase your veils. That might be worth doing, just in case. Because I've been wanting to increase veils anyway. So I think it would be worthwhile to do this now before I forget about it, because Lord knows my mind goes off in a million directions and I completely forget to do something important, and I'll be rolling up to London and they'll search us and it'll be like, oh crap, my veils could be like I think we have at least like 10 secrets. Does it say here how many we have? 20 secrets. We have 20 secrets. Our veils could go up by 20 freaking points. We're not going to raise it by 20 points. We're going to raise it by 15. I think. Because that leaves a few secrets in reserve in case we need one. But it should mean that if we do get searched, we at least have a halfway decent chance of being able to hide the contraband. It would be even better if we had a hidden compartment, but I don't think there's anything I can do about that. I think you have to actually get that in London, funnily enough. You'd think it'd be like something you'd get in maybe Gators and more. Like, that would make sense. That's a pirate stronghold. Or maybe there are other places you can get it and I just don't know. But we don't have a hidden compartment or anything, so we're going to be doing this like purely on the veils that we have, and our current veils is really crap. It's only 38. So let's get another 15 freaking points. Yes, I know it says 28 there. I was going with the bonuses, which is the total that it should actually use. So let's just raise this. It'll help us also not get noticed so dang often, which should help. Yes, I really wish you could do this in bulk. There. Now we have 42 base veils, and with bonuses, it's 53. So that's at least decent. That's a little higher than it would be starting out with no bonuses, admittedly, as the street urchin. So that's at least okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. So maybe if we get searched at a bad time, we don't just get completely screwed over. Maybe. It's still not great. It's definitely not like enough that I'd say we specialize in it. We just don't completely suck. So we are going to go, and I know I've been cutting a lot of the traveling because the traveling in this game, if I have like one major complaint about this game, I have little niggles here and there, but my one major complaint is that travel is so freaking slow. I remember modifying the ships. When I haven't. This game is unmodded for this playthrough for obvious reasons. But I remember actually in the game that I played for fun on my own time, I modified the ships. And what I did primarily is I gave them all like about 50% more hold space, roughly. And I reduced the weight of a lot of the ships pretty significantly. And what that means is that it just means they move faster, because the way speed works is it's your engine power and your weight. I don't know the exact formula, and I just wanted them to move a little quicker. Now you could argue that the more fair and balanced version of that would have been to increase engine power, which is what I wanted to do, because if you increased engine power, you'd get more speed, but you'd also be using more fuel, which is kind of closer to what the developers intended. But I found a guide to modify the ships. I could not for the life of me find a way to modify the engine power. That could just be a failing on my part. So I just went with what I could find. And I mean, I didn't reduce the weight by that much, just a little, just to make them move a little quicker, because this is with me having a rant. We started here. This is how far we've moved. We've gone about halfway. So if I don't have something to rant about the whole way, and I mean, we haven't run into any Z creatures or anything. A lot of the parts of the Z are actually safer than you'd think. I mean, watch the game come smack me down now that I've said it, but oh hey, we actually found a new place. Well, we may as well see what's here. But yeah, if I don't have something to talk about, it's just a lot of this in between islands. I didn't figure that would make for enthralling viewing, so that's why, generally speaking, we've been skipping it. Okay, we've gotten the Restless Nights thing, so we should probably deal with that. We're going to ignore them because occasionally that reduces terror by just a little bit, and Lord knows we could use it. Okay, we've gotten the Restless Nights thing, so we should probably deal with that. We're going to ignore them because occasionally that reduces terror by just a little bit, and Lord knows we could use it. Okay, we've gotten the Restless Nights thing, so we should probably deal with that. We're going to ignore them because occasionally that reduces terror by just a little bit, and Lord knows we could use it. Probably gonna get another nightmare boost when we head back to London because our terror will be probably just a little bit above 50 again. Let's see. On a lonely desert beach, there's no habitation in sight, no market, only an old rotting dock. A stretch of sand thickens into damp black earth from which sprout stunted palms? Not quite. Tall fungal growths with frond-like caps, as if someone had sculpted the idea of a tree from a mushroom. Let's see what awaits us. War? As you step onto the quay, you hear clamor, shouts, and shooting. You can see, off in the distance, smoke rising from beyond the hill. And dots of fire flecking the horizon. Two tiny figures stand a little further down the quay, unmoving, as if awaiting your approach. The following is an extract from the popular Diary of a Z Captain, from London to Irem and what we did there before we arrived, washed ashore on Mutton Island and subsequently serialized in the unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. The Tale of Pigmo Isle, in which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, a most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded with tooth and claw. And apparently we're deciding to write in the style of Terry Pratchett for a minute. Not that I'm complaining. Chapter 1, The Delegation. The figures were rodents. To my left was a Rattus Faber wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig, wearing a helmet and breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the High Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed. Welcome, Captain, to Ratstar Island. I'm Edgar, 2nd Chief Engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice. The rat stepped back. At precisely the same moment, with what appeared to be the ease of long habit, the guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Kavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereux. That sounds Devereux. Okay, that's probably French, so I'm probably butchering that. Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, Seneschal to our King Gracenaw, first of his name. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice. The two stood at attention, looking at me expectantly. The two remarkable rodents sat, squatted, both seeking my support. I knew I had to choose carefully. Okay, I think we can speak to both of them because this is like where we make the choice. So let's see. We're going to speak to the chief engineer first because he's the first one in the list. His eyes had a wave-cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. We've come to this island to make a home for ourselves away from London, its cats and snuffers, its rat skin suits. We've come to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the rat star that shone bright and blue on Mount Ariat. The chief engineer nodded towards a distant hill. One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of Mount Ariat we plucked the rat star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavi saw the light, and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours. We will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them? I spoke to the seneschal. How did an armored guinea pig manage to look regal? A knight out of habit. The seneschal cleared her throat with a delicacy to rival the Duchess's own before speaking. Gracenaw the king, our lord and sovereign, full 7 months had sojourned on the sea, conquered this land, and won the southern main. Now no fortress against him shall remain. No city walls be left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind the mountain. Unlikely was the lamb of our deliverance. Assured shall be our glories and their fall. Sorry, sometimes when it's in italics, it's a little hard for me to read. When our lady's eye restored to our hall. The seneschal composed herself, then added, "We saw truth and beauty by the light of Our Lady's eye on Mount Caveat, but the rats with their guns and chatter and their peasants' politics stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us?" I guess we're ready to make our choice, because here's where we're at. As you can well imagine, I faced quite a dilemma. Their red eyes stared up at me, waiting for my choice. I can tell you right now that brokering a peace at this juncture does not work. I remember that much. So that option is basically a non-option. I do get slightly irritated with this game sometimes for just putting things like that just loop back. Like, why bother if it's not going to go anywhere? But it doesn't do it too often. Let's see. I don't know. I think every single time I've sided with the chief engineer, but I've never completed this quest line. So probably gonna do that again. I'm sure eventually I'll side with the seneschal just to see what that's like, but generally speaking, they annoy me. I sided with the chief engineer. He seemed grumpy but honest. Also, I knew all too well what rat-made weapons can do. I extended a finger to the chief engineer, who shook it grimly. The seneschal hissed and chattered, her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance. "You've made the right choice," said the chief engineer. "Let me show you around. We gain a fuel and supplies, as they said we would, and we've chosen to help the rats." Chapter 3, A Rat in the Making. The chief engineer led me to the northern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we came upon a small colony, smaller than some of the infestations I had encountered in London flats. Perhaps only 50 ratus faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. The first thing I noticed was a brilliant light beaming out from a stump of chicken wood about 6 feet high. It bathed the whole settlement in a clean blue glow and was almost too bright to look at. By its light, I could see several raised mounds of earth, suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, an albino rat mending nets while others stabbed sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks where a sergeant barked orders at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused in their work to look at me curiously. "Welcome to Murenia? Yeah, that's what we're going with," said the chief engineer, voice warm with pride. "It's not much to look at now, but it will be once we've rousted the cavies. Take a stroll around while I summon the war council." With that, he vanished into one of the mounds and left me to explore. Okay, there's 3 places we can go. Let's visit the barracks first. That seems the most relevant to what's probably about to go down. The drill sergeant appeared to be sizing me up. Were the few rats around her really all she had to launch an attack? We were fighting impressive odds. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chickenwood jerky to gnaw on. "There's more of us below ground," she explained, "but not enough. The cavies are bigger and there's more of them. We're better with weapons, but haven't got the stuff to make them with. Some of us came here as stowaways and brought nothing but food, tools, and the fur on our backs. We can fish... we nibble on the chicken woods, but we can't make our guns out of trees. The cavies come with their own steamer and seem to have endless supplies. We raid them sometimes, but there's so few of us we can never hold on to territory gained for long. But that's of no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace to build a republic. And the rat star," she added thoughtfully after a moment. "Of course, we want that too." Okay, yeah, this is the same stuff. Okay, we've just looped back. So maybe if we could bring them materials? That might be good. Let's take a closer look at the rat star if they let us. An excitable-looking rat was peering at it through smoky goggles, twitching her whiskers and making notes on what appeared to be real paper. Blue as a sapphire, but endlessly more brilliant. It's not a star, of course, not really, but try explaining that to the others. The chief engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince them. Says this is better for morale. But just look at it. Look! She offered me her goggles. I managed to work them over just enough of one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. It was scintillac, but unlike any I'd seen before. Blue as a sapphire, but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed her goggles back. Those of us who have been to the Cavi side of the island and lived to tell of it say there's plenty of glow there. Plenty of bright water all around, but nothing like this. We took this from the island's center, Mount Ariat. Only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's hollow. There's sweet water inside and coral crawling all up the walls of it. So kind of like that island where we play a lot of chess, I guess. But nothing that glows save this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us. And again, it's just looped us back. We had no option to really say anything. Let's head down to the beach, I guess. Whoever heard of a rat mending a net? Where the green billows played, an albino rat smiled up at me from his mending work, looking dainty and a little shy. Chicken wood floats, especially when it's dried out and sealed, so we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. We come up with all sorts of things, blind fish, crabs, sometimes a chunk of broken tentacle, but the fishing would never be so good without the rat star, he beamed. I think it only draws good fish and keeps the scary ones at bay. I know the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. That light is our livelihood. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff down here. You could honestly both be right to some degree. I guess we're finishing our exploration because, again, we couldn't say anything at any of these, so I guess to get to another choice, we're going to have to just continue on. The bells of the War Council rang. I was summoned. The chief engineer emerged from underground with a motley assortment of other rats. He introduced them as weapons experts, strategists, and field commanders. So you're going to help us best the cavies, he said, a hard edge in his voice. But how exactly? Okay, so there's a few different ways that we could possibly do this, either through veils, iron, or just not rolling anything, which is probably just crap. Let's see, iron... Even though, because we recently raised our veils, even though our iron was higher until recently, our veils is now the higher one, and I think the challenge difficulty is the same. So for veils, we have a 79% chance, and for iron, we have a 66% chance. I mean, 79's not bad, but good God, does this game like to screw me over. I guess we're offering strategic assistance. We engineered a distraction that the LBs could use to plunder the KV ship and turn the tide in their favor. A questing beast. I dressed up one of my sailors as a mess of shabby cloth smeared with prisoner's honey. We have that? And instructed him to roll around in the black earth of the island. Soon we had a glorious mud monster to send thrashing through the chicken woods towards the cavies. The distraction worked perfectly. Yay, we didn't get screwed over by the 21%. The cavies diverted their force towards our makeshift beast, leaving the rats with very little opposition as they plundered the grounded ship. They returned triumphant, as did my sailor, laughing, having led the cavies a merry chase. Within a few hours, the rats' diligence had resulted in the building of a remarkable cache of weapons with which they successfully routed their enemy. The rats, ever egalitarian, shared their spoils in addition to the promised fuel and food. So, Pigmoat Isle Might is now 4 vulnerable. Civilization quality is now 5, unexceptional. Spirit quality is now 3, conflicted. We've gained 4 barrels of parabola linen. We actually now have enough to go and get that officer. I really hope that we actually have... Yeah, we are well over our hold capacity because we keep getting stuff. So, yeah, we also got sent to, like, we're going to have to dump some of this, sadly. I'm going to try to at least keep enough parabola linen to go and get that officer at Mount Palmerston. But who knows? Apparently, we should have just done this on the way back because we've had no option to leave at any point. I think we can now because you have to wait for time to pass to keep coming back here and do things. The house of Cavey had fallen. Murena was triumphant. All that remained were the celebrations and the continuation of our voyage. Oh, how we feasted long into the night. Then... we could invite one of the Raddies Faber to join us, which I believe gives us another mascot. We could also intercede on behalf of the Cavies. They were crushed, defeated, and I could see their spirits broken without the light of the Ratsguard to guide them. They needed an advocate. Let's see if maybe we can start pushing towards peace now, because I know it's possible. A grudging concession. I appealed to the chief engineer's moral fortitude and sense of fair play. Perhaps the Cavies suffered the loss of the light from the center of the island. Perhaps they were only trying to get it back, not steal it from the rats. The chief engineer looked troubled at the thought. We only wanted to be left alone, he said. He looked towards the seneschal, haphazardly bandaged among the rats' other prisoners. Perhaps further negotiation is possible. As I left, I saw the albino rat timidly offering a young Cavey prisoner a piece of fresh fish. So, yeah, we managed to forge something resembling a piece, and it made the spirit quality of the island go way, way up. It's now 6, optimistic. Alright. We're not gonna bring him with us. I think it does weaken the island to take him, and we already have our Blimmigan Gallivantier, who I'm pretty happy with in that role, so... yeah, now we have to dump stuff, but let's read this off first. No, I can't scroll until I do this, so I guess we're doing this first. See, we're getting rid of the Harlot Fry and the Strange Catch. Yes, I know we could use them, but... okay, they're not freaking out with the Claymen like they would over a passenger. I'm not seeing the, good God, Captain, you're trucking a passenger overboard notification over here, so hopefully that doesn't screw us over. Because we didn't need the other Clayman. We really just needed the one for now, and we're just going to get rid of the others, as annoying as that is. Alright, because one parabola linen sells for 60, so getting rid of that is effectively dumping like 6 barrels of fuel, assuming you buy it in London at least. And Scintillac's also pretty good. So I really wish, like, can you, like, just use a barrel of it? It'd be really nice if you could at least use a barrel from this menu to top up the meter, because as you can see, we're like 2/3 of the way through this barrel. It'd be really nice if we could just top up so that we at least used one of these and only had to dump 2. At least we just used a crate of supplies, otherwise it'd be even worse. There. Annoying as it is. We honestly didn't really come out any worse for fuel because we gained fuel doing that. I think we basically just dumped what we gained. I wish, like, it would at least go to the rats here, since we're dumping it here at a port. Like, it didn't even let us open the shops tab to try to sell anything. Not that they have shops here, but if they had, like, I'd be super annoyed, because it's like, good freaking lord, we're at the dock. It's one of the niggles that I have with this game. One of the nitpicks is the inventory management, because even if they'd had shops, we wouldn't have been able to sell the stuff. It would have made us dump it, even though we were at the dock. And we, as far as I know, can't just tell it to use a barrel without just dumping it. But yeah, I don't think we can do anything else here right now. Maybe. Yeah. Oh God, steal the rat star. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. I think that, like, even if you manage it just completely